El fútbol ha sido mi vida. He vivido momentos inolvidables. Goles, jugadas, marcajes, rivalidades, amistades para siempre. El fútbol es sentimiento. De todos esos momentos guardo algunos recuerdos que me ayudan a sentir. Incluso hoy me siguen emocionando. Colecciona los mejores momentos de la mejor liga del mundo y emociónate.
Now, yes, good afternoon. Thank you for being here and joining us in this wonderful panel, which is the rollout of a new and exciting partnership for La Liga with Dapper Labs. And I have here at my left Kari Tenman, the head of brand partnerships of Dapper Labs, and the good friend Jorge de la Vega, the head of commercial and marketing at La Liga. Basically, what we want to bring you in this partnership and actually be able to shed some light in first what is an NFT, what is its use, and the strategic objectives of partnership making from La Liga. So probably we can start with Kati with the very basic. What is an NFT, and what do we need them for?
Yeah, I think lots of people have heard the term NFT. Lots of people are not 100% sure what that means. An NFT is, for us, a unit of fandom. It's an asset that's digital, and many of you work with digital assets in media, in videos, in photos, even in gaming, in-game assets. What makes an NFT is that it's secured on blockchain technology. Blockchain sounds scary, but is really kind of just like a notebook that anybody can read from, and everything written in it is true. So if it says, I own my NFT, then it's verifiable that I own my NFT. And so this is interesting for a couple of reasons. One, if you truly own something, you can buy it, you can sell it, you can transact in it, so it creates a new value proposition to consumers. And the second is that I can be verified as a fan. I'm not just saying that I am a huge fan. You can see in black and white that I have an enormous collection of this player, of this club, of this league, and you can verify my level of fandom. And we use that a lot, and I could talk about that a little later, but really an NFT is just a digital asset that you can really buy and sell.
Wonderful. Actually, for everyone knows that La Liga is very progressive in terms of innovation, technology, and undertaking, and opening actually new categories. So, from your commercial perspective and in general for La Liga, what made this partnership a priority or a thing of interest for you?
Well, first, good afternoon, and thank you, Raide, and thank you, Katie, for being here. As you said, well, La Liga. For La Liga, it has been the capillary importance innovation. So, well, we've got many examples of that. We've got the anti-piracy policies and tools, AI, working for or using this algorithm for the calendar competition, and well, of course, this state-of-art technology for broadcasting, which is probably the most obvious innovation that we're using. But most of them are looking for improving this fan engagement. So, well, of course, when we started hearing about blockchain, was kind of a challenge. It was like, well, I feel a bit stupid in order to understand what that means. Katie did it perfectly now, and she explained what it is. But at the very beginning for us was a real challenge to understand why this blockchain technology was landing into our industry. So we understood that it was a huge opportunity in order to work on this fan engagement. Our digital team has been doing such a good job for the last years in order to create different touch points with our fans around the world. So at the end of the day, what we want from our fans is connecting with La Liga and engaging with La Liga, not only for the match games, during the entire week, being connected with us and interacting with us. So we understood that this blockchain technology could bring many different ways to enhance this engagement. And well, I think we all remember when we were kids, engaging with the competition and with La Liga in this case, even more with our cards than with the games, because well, at that time, I'm old, but we didn't have so many games broadcasted. We perhaps had like one per week. So I think I can remember more players from my cards than from the games. So it is kind of replicating that and to work with the fans and to create more touch points and to offer them the opportunity to own something that they will remember forever. And when you're talking about this partnership, we are talking about the best moments and the best memories around La Liga. So I think obviously that improved this fan engagement. And secondly, obviously, we are a commercial team in my case, and we saw that, well, it was a good moment to explore other ways or other sources of revenue that, are always appreciated. So yeah, I would say that firstly, this fan engagement strategy that we have been doing for a while, but also a potential source of revenue for the future.
And you're being humble because we've been speaking to La Liga for over 2 years. And so that was even before NBA Top Shot was successful. So they saw the technology and they saw the possibility of what it would look like to engage their fans in different ways. And that was before we had great metrics. Now I walk into a team or a league and I say, our engaged users come to our website 300 times a month. We've driven almost $750 million in fan value for basketball fans. But when we started talking, I had zero numbers and zero proof.
So, well, all the credits here for our office in the US, this joint venture with Relevant, they're doing such a good job. And well, they started with these conversations. They saw what was coming at that moment, and well, finally we're here to celebrate.
Shout out to Boris and Patrick and the guys in New York. Definitely, they're doing a great job. It's now that you mentioned that, in 2019 they, saw what you were doing. They targeted you and they went to go after you. Now, I guess that your inbox is kind of exploding in terms of inbound. But actually, how do you define or draw up a mutually beneficial partnership when back then you were pretty much beginning? La Liga is a global juggernaut, and now you kind of are a big thing now.
I think when we started talking, and when we start talking to anyone, we always say we start with fans. We're not going to give you revenue targets. We're not going to tell you how many new users every month we're going to have. We're going to say we're going to build something that fans will love, and if they love it, revenue will come. And the revenue projections are if we build something that people truly love, and that's the one thing that we always go back to when we make decisions on anything. And the La Liga team does a phenomenal job of engaging fans. And I think when we look at partnerships, it's not only, who can we get a good deal with, or, how many total fans do they have? It's the people we're working with, and do they have the ability to say, we're willing to try something innovative. We're willing to try something that's unproven, but we're only willing to do that if you're going to do a good job for our fans. And La Liga came to the table with exactly that. Their team brings so many insights about fans. We've learned so much about La Liga fans along the way. And we're really excited to bring them something that we hope they will love. And if they don't right away, we'll keep trying, right? That's always going to be the North Star for us, to make sure that fans love the experience that they're engaging with.
And in that regard, and to give you some context, what you see now from Dapper Labs is that they have partnerships with the NBA, NBA Top Shot, UFC, now La Liga is the first global football property, and we are in a very particular context. So it will be interesting to know from La Liga and Dapper how the pandemic and the shift towards everything digital kind of accelerated this wave of, the need for digital collecting, or the need to engage with digitally native companies. How that played out in your case when you're looking at the strategy in the last 18 months?
Well, specifically about the pandemic, it is true that we all accelerate something that it was coming. So in terms of this fan engagement and these experiences, we needed to understand that we should be creative in the way we create new experiences. And I think it helps a lot. it's something that we all knew that it was coming, but well, the pandemic had too many bad things, but also have had very good very good things, because we all understood that we needed to push a little bit in order to transform our business. So yeah, the challenge here, well, there were many challenges, but one of the first challenges it is that you have a lot of companies coming with a lot of creative ideas, especially when you're a property that is global. Everybody believes that, well, it could be a good platform to start, to test, to try, and it's not easy to identify which is the right one, because obviously there are many good ideas. In digital are millions of them now. So to select which is the right one that you have to follow, that you have to jump into, it is not that easy. So, well, we thought that it was a good idea to explore this blockchain, if we can say that this industry, if it is an industry itself, but it was complex. We have enjoyed the journey, but it's a big challenge for the sport properties that, by the way, we are not used to. I mean, even to know who has to lead the conversation is a challenge in some properties, and I think we did a good job with a multidisciplinary group of people from many departments of La Liga, and we accelerated something that was coming for sure.
I'll add that for organizations that are thinking about entering this space, a multidisciplinary group is really great to work through. So when we work with La Liga, when we work with the NBA, we work with their licensing team because we're a licensee. We license their intellectual property. We work with their media team because the property that we're licensing is video, and you need the experts on video in the room. We work with their social media team because we're focused on fan engagement and they're focused on fan engagement. And we work with their editorial team that helps us cut and produce packages. So we're already, to make a project like this come to life, you already need experts in all of these different areas that most organizations have experts in already. Those experts just need to come into a room and talk about how you can think about your disciplines in a slightly different way.
Absolutely, and when you look at the evolution of the internet, for the guys that have been following NFTs, you have Web 1, which was unidirectional, then Web 2, which is about social media and interaction and user-generated content, but now we are in Web 3, I believe, and Web 3 is about ownership and the ownership economy. But actually, you have to do that through a communal perspective. So can you give us a little bit more in terms of how community building is essential for a business model like NFTs to work?
Yeah, I think we get a lot of credit for building a community around NBA Top Shot, but really the way we look at it is that we've created a place for people to come to and for people to have fun and for people to engage. And so we didn't make the community. The individuals in the community have made it themselves. We just gave them the thing that they love to talk about and they love to transact in. And they love to talk about not just from the quality of the plays that are in the moments, but how much their moments sold for and what their collection looks like. And if they have more of a collection than someone else and what their collector score is. And so all of these pieces are specific things that we've created to engage those fans, but the communities come together themselves and have said, we are, in that case, the NBA Top Shot community. In this case, it will be the La Liga community. And they say, we want to spend time together, and your product is the place that we meet. It's not all that different from something like Fortnite, which for a long time was kind of called this third place for consumers to go. A good blockchain project is a third place for consumers to spend time with each other. And there's a couple of trends that, Web 2 kind of started and blockchain has taken over. One of which is retail investing. So there's been a huge surge in retail investing in the last 5 or 10 years. People look at the way they invest in things differently, and that's created a world in which people invest in cryptocurrency, they invest in NFTs. What would you rather do, invest in a stock that you don't know anything about the company, or invest in a La Liga moment in which you love that player and team, and even if it doesn't appreciate, you love that thing? So retail investing has been huge. And then the second piece is how much time people spend online. And I think anyone who works in a digital capacity knows this already. But people want to represent themselves online, sometimes in the way they do in the real world, sometimes not. And to be able to verify that fandom or verify that persona is the thing that blockchain enables. None of the things that we do in NBA Top Shot will be new to anyone in this room. They're all activities that brands, that leagues, that clubs already do. It's just in a little bit of a different media, and it creates an enormous amount of value for your fans. And so that value exchange is the thing that's new and is really exciting.
Actually, and without trying to get too granular, but on real practical terms, it will be interesting to have an insight in terms that it's not only about owning a moment or a piece of media. It's a gateway to a world of opportunity, and also there's a topic that has been repeated throughout the conference, which is the metaverse. This is really interesting, and I'd love to have your take, Katie, on what else can that token enable you to do as a fan.
Yeah, I think the future is very exciting about interoperability and the ability for assets to interoperate together in a metaverse. I think in the short term, there are a lot of things you can do with NFTs, like playing in games, which is something that people love to do. But instead of a gaming company wiping your whole account every season, you get to keep your assets and you get to do with them what you want. For us, it's extremely important to put fans in stadiums and in arenas and give them experiences and reward their fandom in a way that, for us right now, only Top Shot, but that La Liga will bring to fans in the future. We sent 8 fans and their guests to Game 5 of the NBA Finals this year, which was extremely fun. One of those fans came from Switzerland to Phoenix, Arizona for the event. So I don't know if he would ever have gone to Phoenix, Arizona without that happening. But it was a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and those people are now friends for life. They have a shared experience, and they have a shared experience because the NBA brought that to them. And so when you think about something like maybe El Clasico, which you can keep an eye out for, we want to reward fans as well, and we want them to feel like when they show their fandom and when they have a deep fandom, that someone recognizes it in a way that's not like putting your name in a hat for a contest, but verifiable that you are a fan that deserves to be rewarded.
Jorge, you have any take in terms of broader plans, but without giving away too much about the activation strategy, but what is something that has you excited in terms of what La Liga can offer the fans of this wonderful community, which is La Liga fans, and in terms of the experiences attached to the NFTs that will soon come out?
Well, again, when we were thinking about how can we improve this fan engagement through this blockchain technology, and specifically now talking about the NFTs, we are measuring how we connect with our fans. And obviously you mentioned the different waves about how everything has evolved. We understand that given the excuse of connecting with La Liga every single day and staying with us as much as possible, it is the main goal for us. So we have developed so many projects trying to get that. Like, I don't know, you've got some games like fantasy game. Obviously, when you are playing a fantasy game, our fantasy game, you are not only enjoying La Liga during the weekend because you are watching the games. It is that you've got one player that if he scores, you get absolutely engaged. It is that during the week, you are connecting with La Liga in order to see how's the market, if anybody's injured or not. So we've got a bunch of different games and apps and a lot of excuses to interact with our fans. Or we create different projects like La Liga, which is our professional esports competitions created side by side with our partners from EA. So we understood that this was exactly the next level. So we are offering our fans the possibility to convert these good memories, these good moments about La Liga, that it is not only the current one, it is the archive, it is what they remember, the opportunity to own that. So I think it is a next level of engagement, and even there's something related to scouting, which is, I think, one of the things that is most exciting. So everybody of us, I think it's the good and the bad side of football that we all believe that we are the best coach, the best player, the best president of a club or whatever. So here you can use that, to say, well, I've seen this player that I think is going to be a big star, so I want to get this asset because it's the first time he scores in first division, and I want to take it and this kind of thing. So it is not that you can go to your friends and say, no, I think this guy is going to be really good playing. No, it's that I bet for that. I paid for this asset, and well, who knows in the future? Because you can say that you've got it, and even to earn some money. So I think it's a different relationship with our content.
Absolutely. And to kind of go into the last stretch of this intervention, I mean, any new space, any space, especially in partnership, when two companies are lending their brands and their brand equity to each other, lends itself for some pitfalls, some problems. In both of your take, and Kari, probably you can go first, what is that we need to be conscious of and be mindful when building a partnership, and especially entering into this space, which is, getting crowded for the moment, right?
Yeah, I would say the single most important thing is don't let your consumers be the ones who lose. So don't let your fans be the ones who bought something that isn't worth anything in the future. Don't sign with vendors who are inflexible. So when we talk to La Liga about our partnership and our relationship, we understand they have other partners. We understand that they have other, areas that we have to be careful not to tread in. We found a place that we think is going to be phenomenal for football fans. But your partners shouldn't fight you on everything. Your partners should come to the table and say, how can you make this product better through your knowledge? We will bring you a technology and we have an idea, but it shouldn't ever be that you have to do something that you're uncomfortable with, and it should always be that your fans win in some way. An example of that is that NBA Top Shot packs, and for La Liga will be the same, are not all very expensive. You can buy a pack for $9 and get something that's really spectacular and potentially very valuable. And what we try to do is make sure that consumers are always winning, whether we are or whether we are not. And so always put your fans first. And if you put your fans first, it's very hard to do something that is going to be inappropriate.
Absolutely. And, as a piece of information, where do we can find information and stay tuned with this partnership and what it's coming?
Sure. Right now you can go to laliga.onflow.org. Once we name the product, which we're in the progress of, we'll share a new website as well.
All right. I don't know how much time do we have left. I think a couple of minutes, and it will be great if any of you have any questions that you can shoot to this. I think it's a great opportunity to understand a little bit better or answer any of your concerns or doubts.
Someone's got a question. They just don't want to ask it.
Or maybe they have everything clear about NFT.
Maybe. Come find me.
Here in the front row.
I think about this stuff way too much. So, question, I guess maybe for you both. Thoughts on, maybe it's unannounced, but league-wide versus team-specific token experiences, etc. Anything you can share around strategy there? Whether these are,
I can take that. Do you want to?
Yeah, no problem. Well, thank you for the question. In fact, it was one of the biggest challenges at the beginning. Sure. I mean, when we first heard about blockchain, first we needed to understand what blockchain means, then what can add to our industry. And at the beginning, you could be tempted to go for a specific partner to block the entire blockchain category, which, well, is an option. What we understood it was that we needed to better understand how can we take advantage of it? But as Katie said before, if you're thinking about the fans, you need to be sure that in a long term, they will be able to own what they bought. So we need to think about reliable companies and that will be here for the future, obviously for the fans, but also for, even if you are only thinking about the source of revenue, it was important for us to see that there were companies that they've got a track record, and in this specific case, they had so many good cases. And we understood that probably the best option for us was not having just a specific vertical, like a vertical related to everything related to blockchain. We needed to take advantage of this hype, let's say, but also to be sure that we were protecting partners for La Liga for many years, that they had their own space and probably they are thinking about jumping into the NFT or the blockchain environment. And be sure that these companies will be with us doing what they're doing the best in every moment. So that's why we divided this category, let's say, in different verticals, and we are going for the best partners in every single category, which, by the way, I think it is the best, because we're going to be sure that our fans will have their assets for a long time, and they are not competing each other. They've got their own space, their own marketplaces, and their own products related to La Liga, but in many different ways.
Yeah, I can add to that so we look for partnerships with leagues because it gives us video rights, and we think video is what sports fans love the most. It's what I love the most as a sports fan, and so that's where we start. And we get to work with all of the clubs through a league. But we also work with individual clubs across various sports, and we think that leagues, clubs, athletes, in some cases, venues. I'm a New York Rangers fan, so Madison Square Garden, best stage on earth. I think that is, that's a brand that could have interesting engagement, and all of these make up an ecosystem of sports products that all have assets that are really interesting. And I think if the owners of each of those properties think about how is this about engagement, not just about trying to make $1 million on one day? How is this about sustained engagement over time? What happens over time? What are those rewards? Why are people coming back? Ask why. Why are people coming back to your platform? I think that's the way we think about it, but the ecosystem could be so broad, and there could be so many different assets that are interesting, whether they're video or whether they're animations or whether they're 3D renderings or whether they're just static, but they're really great art.
Thank you.
Just one thing to add about that. Talking about competitions and teams, which is important. Depending on the assets that they are looking for, there are some of them that are collective ones, and we are able to provide that in a collective way. But in some cases, they've got their own IPs or assets, digital assets that they want to include within the deal. And then in that cases, we are trying to add also. So we are looking for different scenarios depending on the assets and depending on the club's needs too. So we are more than happy to have this collective way, but also individually, if they want to join, we are more than happy, and we are adding many of them.
Okay, I think we have one question here, a couple of questions, and one there.
Yeah, I have a question. So my name's Imani, and my question is, Kathy, you said that you try to make sure that the fans don't buy something that will not be valuable later. So what's the criteria for something that would not be valuable later, and how do you prevent that from happening?
That is a very good, very tough question. I think the first way you do that is by not trying to maximize revenue, but take a look at revenue projections and say, we're going to sell it for this percentage less because we think that it's worth here. But if it's worth here for fans, it should be worth here for us. And that's, we look at this as economic value neutral or economic value positive. And our goal is to not be economic value negative.
Okay, that's a good answer. I have one more question, if that's okay. Yeah, it's going to be real quick. So my question is, how does the licensing work? Because you mentioned that you licensed from La Liga. So let's assume that you've licensed a highlight, Messi scores a hat trick, boom, boom, you give it to someone else, someone buys it, and then you have a breach of contract with La Liga. What happens to the person who bought the NFT under that licensing agreement between the two of you?
That's an excellent question, and I'm glad that I can answer it. Our contracts give end users the right to own that content in perpetuity. In plain black and white, we make sure the term in perpetuity is in every one of our contracts so that if we have an issue with La Liga, the consumer is never impacted by it. We may never be able to sell that again because we're no longer in a commercial deal, which hopefully will never happen. 100 years of Dapper and La Liga is what we're looking for. But the consumer should not be impacted by that. And so that concept, that doesn't mean commercialization. It doesn't mean that I can own that, reproduce it, put it on a t-shirt, sell it. That would be against terms of service. But the end user owns the asset in perpetuity so they can have the confidence that we will never take it back from them.
Yeah, I would add that that's why it's so relevant to choose the best partners to do that. Because if you offer that for perpetuity and this company is not existing anymore in 5 years, we've got an issue. So that's why it was so relevant for us to be sure that the partners were the right one.
Here, Mo.
Thank you for the presentation. My question is probably not as tough, but I'm new to the whole NFT thing, like many users probably. I am also a big NBA fan, so I did look at what is being offered as there, and just the nature of the NBA game offers you so many moments per the game. Like you have handles, you have scores, there's so much happening. And in the nature of football, sometimes you have a game that ends up in 0-0. So my question is, in the nature of the game, what are you planning on doing to create or like to fight the scarcity of moments that maybe for the NBA you would have, I don't know how many moments that you could probably sell per game or per season versus mid-table soccer team that maybe scores once every couple of weeks or something like that?
This is also an excellent question and was in my talking points that I didn't hit. When we think about the difference between basketball and football, the NBA is all, like slam dunks, it is hard blocks, it's explosive plays. Football is about finesse. And it's about how a play comes together. And that play is not always a scoring play. That may be a phenomenal pass. That may be a corner that bends in a way that you don't even understand how that can happen. And there are all of these smaller, more finesse-driven moments that we think are going to actually make up the backbone of this product, where we're not looking for every explosive goal. We're really looking for amazing stops. We're looking for teams that are collaborating together. And one of the things we've talked about is that in the La Liga product, perhaps the moments need to be longer because you need to be able to see that play develop in some way. And this is exactly why we look for great partners, because when we talk about how will the content differ, how do we make this sport shine, how do we make these teams and players shine, we look to the experts at La Liga to help us do that. We also hire experts in the football world and who can help us in editorial and all of those pieces. But the thing that we do not want to do is try to make La Liga football into basketball.
Last question.
Hi, my name is Daniel. I'm from Malaysia. 16 hours here. And my friends here, Korea from Japan, almost there, 15 hours. Yeah. Okay. My question is that just now you have made mentions about Arizona, the NBA experience. So how do you actually selected those engagement? But what kind of strategy that you are using to specify that these are the winners and these are the best fans that you are doing? Like, do you have any technology or any kind of ways to identify those? Thank you.
We have blockchain technology. So what we looked at for that was how many Suns moments were owned. So what is the sheer volume of fandom? But then we also looked at how long they've had them. So did they just buy them to try to enter a contest, or did they have them and did they have great collections they were holding on to and trying to build over time? And what did those pieces look like? And frankly, all of that data is on chain. Anyone can tap into the public ledger of fandom. And we just tapped into public information to see who was the biggest Suns fan in our ecosystem that had held on to their moments for a long time and that were clearly building a collection around their fandom. And we could do that on any criteria. We could pick a single moment and say whoever's owned this moment long enough gets to meet that player. We could say whoever has the most moments for the longest time of this team gets to go to that finals game or that Clásico or whatever event it is. We could even do the opposite. We could say these people are doing a lot of flipping and speculation, but they're very interesting. Like they know, they're really good at this. Do we want to do something different with them? Maybe we send them to Vegas to go gamble. It's, there's kind of a lot of different ways you can look at that, but we let the data tell us that and we set the criteria and just search, but there's no secret or proprietary technology because blockchain is public, so everybody can see it.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Kathy. Thank you, Jorge. And
Thank you.
Best of luck. I'm sure it will go really, really well. So thank you all for being here.
Thank you.